Wow. Whew, okay. First, I just want to say thank you, Athletic Director Mike Bone, Denise, President Folt, the entire athletics department, my coaches, teammates, Little Galen staff, the academics department, my pops for all your sacrifices, and my fellow graduates for allowing me to be on this stage and share my truth. A few weeks ago, I got a call from Sam, my academic counselor, and she told me that she recommended me to be this year's speaker. I jokingly asked, why me? But that was just the nervous destiny coming out. I have attempted numerous game-winning shots, had the ball in my hands in crucial moments, passed finals that decided if I failed or passed the class, broken numerous California records, paved my way to a national championship, and still, I found myself trembling in fear of speaking to a group of highly accomplished individuals. But what I didn't realize is this moment will be a stamp in history that cannot be washed away. With that said, I am so humbled and honored to be able to speak to you all today. Class of 2023, wow. I mean, we made it. Another year, another day, another diploma, another congratulatory moment to tell our kids about one day. We have accomplished yet another astonishing achievement. As we use this day to commemorate, reflect, and embrace each other, I want you to, for a couple of seconds, or a minute, or even the rest of the day, to remove those thoughts of the future and past and immerse yourself in this moment. As little kids, some of you probably made statements like, I can't wait to be 18, or I can't wait to graduate. I know I did. I didn't have a picture-perfect childhood. I often took on more responsibility and wished for more control. Over and over again, I lived for the future. In some sense, that future is here, and what I'm learning now is the importance of living in the moment and of not taking time for granted. I am now an adult with a couple of degrees and plenty of responsibilities. I sometimes find myself wishing for a life before big decisions, before rent, before car payments. Who doesn't want that? Again and again, I have to remind myself to be here now, to live in this moment of my life. As I said, I have to remind myself, it is not my instinct. I have years and years of training in wishing things away, in running. It's a hard habit to break, probably because for a long time running worked. For many of my growing years, I was ruled by fear. I even made up an acronym for it, forget everything and run. I grew up poor, surrounded by drugs and gangs. I wanted a different life and education, peace. So I ran. In middle school, I left home and never went back. I found good people, great people actually. I slept on couches, I lived in guest rooms, sometimes for a few months, sometimes a couple of years, all the way through my high school graduation. When I decided to run, I had no idea what the next few years would be like for me. And I certainly didn't know if I made the right decision. But that is the funny thing with fear. Fear can hinder you from being the best version of yourself, or it can open up possibilities that you didn't even know existed. For me, that choice to run, to listen to my fear, catapulted me toward the woman I am today. The second time I encountered fear was when I was in my senior year of high school. I had signed my NLI to attend USC, my dream school. Everyone sitting here knows a little or two about the recruiting process. Although a blessing, this process is stressful and marks one of the most important decisions you have to make. You put trust into strangers without truly knowing the outcome. Just when it seemed like things were going to work out, in March of that year, the coach who had recruited me, who had mentored me, who I couldn't wait to play for, was fired. I asked for my release. I was heartbroken. I didn't understand why this could be happening to me. I wasn't sure I could face the recruiting process again, and quite frankly, didn't know where I wanted to play. All I wanted to do was run, and I didn't even know what direction to go. I ended up at the University of Texas at Austin. It wasn't a perfect happily ever after. I had a very tough freshman year. I gained 30 pounds. I got injured again and again. I was in a bad place, and I was having some very tough conversations with myself. In those dark days, I decided to change the fear paradigm from forget everything and run to face everything and rise. I lost over 50 pounds, excuse me. I lost over 50 pounds, got into the best shape of my life, starting on a top 25 team, and everything seemed like it was on the rise. I should have known better. My journey has never been smooth, and I got news that my biological dad was arrested for a cold case murder. I was getting threats on Facebook from the accused family. I had to choose to accept those inmate calls. My biological dad called me after shoot-around one day to tell me he had stage 4 lung cancer and would not do treatment. I battled between two feelings, love and hate. I visited my biological dad in prison just to have his gaunt and emaciated frame ingrained in my head for the rest of my life. 3 weeks later, I got a call from my biological mother stating that my dad had passed away. At the age of 19, I had to raise money, plan a funeral for my father alone. And the icing on the cake, I decided to transfer. I transferred to the University of South Carolina, where I would go on to win a national championship and play under Don Staley. By now, you know that the high points in my life don't come alone. A low was probably around the corner, and it was. During my transfer year, I broke both of my feet, resulting in me being in a wheelchair for months. I had to relearn how to walk. I had to be vulnerable enough to allow someone to bathe me every day. I was gaining weight. I didn't know who I was without basketball. And what no one told me was how hard post-injury stress would be. All my life, I was able to get out of any funk I was in. I was able to get through any circumstance or situation I didn't need or want help. I would soon be hit with what I call the beast. And I'm now going to read you a poem I wrote at one of my lowest times in my life, titled Run. Been running since I was 11, but you finally caught up to me. I'm always a step behind you and can't seem to find the edge. You trapped me in my own mind, in my own shoes. I can't escape. The fake smiles are becoming heavy, my eyes too weak to hold back, my mind tired. I said, not me. I'm indestructible. You said, I can break you, and that you did. I can't control the pain, the emotions, the anger. It feels like bullets, piercing through my heart, leaving me limp, alone, careless. I can't fix this one. I can't figure you out. Depression, get the heck out. So here I was, stuck in my tracks, not knowing how to get out. I felt like all the running I had done in my life was quickly catching up. To keep this part short, I had an amazing support group that helped me through the process of acknowledging my situation and ultimately getting through it. While the beginning and middle of my collegiate journey was filled with unexpected outcomes, my final chapter as a student athlete has been nothing short of amazing. God has weird ways of showing you where you need to be, but I am glad that God led me back to USC, to be a Trojan, to be a part of a community that has endless possibilities, and part of a family that loves and cares about each and every one of us in here. I am thankful that I found a place that turned my fear, forget everything and run, into face everything and rise. I'm going to miss running up and down the court with my teammates, getting yelled at by Coach B, celebrating with Mike Bone after home games, signing autographs, going to Coach Jeezy's house to whip everyone in the games, eating at Little Galen, and most importantly, being a part of the Trojan women's basketball team. While God had different plans for me, he made sure that I ended up where I needed to be. And before I close this speech, I want to give a couple of words as we venture into our next chapter. Who we choose to be is far more important than what we choose to do. Before today, in many of our lives, most things have been decided for us. After today, it is up to us to choose. So be sure to make your choices when you are fully awake, decisions that are informed by your heart and not by what others say or believe. Our contribution to the world would not be measured by the money we make or the accolades we receive, but rather by how we share our unique gifts with the world. and the only place to find those gifts is to look within yourself. The next version of you is the one who will pursue ambition all the previous versions weren't able to accomplish. And finally, I challenge you to face everything and rise. Thank you. Fight on.